Welcome, Mr. Vltchek. Welcome
Thank you.
in Istanbul. Welcome in Turkey.
Thank you so much.
You are not for the first time in Istanbul. You know, actually, Istanbul and Turkey very good. How does it feel in Istanbul? What do you think about Turkey?
Always great. Look, I'm in love with Istanbul. I'm in love with Istanbul for 25 years. And always when I'm exhausted, very tired, and my health is not fantastic, Istanbul is one of the places where I run to, because I know I will feel better just from looking at the city and eating the food and talking to people here. So I love the place.
Great.
And great to be back.
You have also here a great view, fantastic view.
Yes.
We're happy for you. I would like to talk with you today about the United States, because you are one of the people who know the United States very well. You lived there for
15 years.
15 years, for a long time, and you also have been in, I think, in New York.
Yes,
for
I
recent
always lived
weeks.
in Manhattan, yes.
You know Manhattan, you lived there, you know New York very good, and you have been there in the recent weeks. Firstly, how is the situation with the pandemic? Because the whole world is curious about it, everybody talks about it. You saw it there, and how is it there with the
It's
pandemic?
totally schizophrenical. Look, in the last few weeks I have been to Europe, I have been to Caribbean, and now I'm in Turkey. But what I saw in the United States was absolutely unique, unprecedented. There is no plan. There is no logical plan of this administration. Administration is clashing with the governors, with mayors, with everyone. There is no consensus. There is there are huge contradictions. Business is taking over everything. It's taking great advantage of the pandemic. You can see it even from the travel. Like, you stay in the good hotels, but they charge the same amount of money, but they totally reduce the service. Everything is in the name of the pandemic. You fly the airlines around the United States. They talk about social distancing, but you know the system in the U.S. airlines is, if you have a status, silver, gold, platinum, they upgrade you to the first class, even if you fly economy. But in the first class, there is no social distancing. Everybody is, the first class is packed. So but they don't feed you. It's packed, but they don't feed you in the name of pandemic. So you don't get a food, but you have a neighbor about whom you don't know if he's COVID positive or not. So everything is schizophrenic. Services are collapsing, but delivery is thriving. So the organizations, companies like Amazon are making tremendous amount of money. People are, the society is in disarray. People are losing their houses. Between 30 and 40% of the US population of people don't know what is going to happen to them in a few weeks, because they don't know if they are going to lose their apartments or not, whether they will be kicked out to the street. Jobs are disappearing. People are scared. And we are talking about democracy, right? I mean, the democracy, part of democracy, or the main point of democracy is the rule of the people, meaning, therefore, also protecting the people from disasters, taking care of them if they need to be taken care of. But it looks like only business right now is gaining in the United States. So the situation is very scary. I was in a period of 3 weeks in a city of New York and in the city of Madrid in Spain. Madrid feels like a first world country, totally first world city compared to New York, which feels like a totally decayed city in disarray, with demonstrations, people dressed very poorly because there is no time, there is no even thought about dressing well. There is a question how to survive. What will the next day bring? So very scary. I mean, if this is the empire, this is definitely an empire in collapse, in decline.
What impressed you mostly when you was now the last time in New York? What impressed you? Anything? What did you saw in Manhattan or in New York? Anything?
What impressed me is how poor actually people became, how insecure they became. And it's not only New York. I was in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital. Everything from the metro system to, the public spaces is decaying. The people are putting tents in front of the government building, tents where they live, the homeless people, just in a center. There are protests in places like the Pond Circle in Washington against the discrimination, racial discrimination. Police is everywhere. Police is protecting statues. There are armed vehicles. There are several police cars in front of statues of former criminals and the slave owners and people like Christopher Columbus.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned it, the second question, what I would like to ask you, the empire, so-called empire you called. Whole of the world, the people discuss about it. Is the United States still a superpower? Or what does these pandemic times shows us about this issue, this topic?
United States is and is not an empire anymore. It is an empire when it comes to the military power. It is an empire when it comes to the point that when it acts like a mafia, it comes to the countries that are independent and it says, well, you do as we want or we'll break your leg. Or will break your arm, and nobody can do anything. They are horrified. They run to United Nations. United Nations can do nothing. So in that respect, it's an empire, in a very negative way. But in a positive way, if empire is a country which is taking good care of its citizens or showing the direction to the world, it's definitely not. Countries like China, countries like Russia, even countries like Cuba in many ways are in many ways much more leaders than the United States right now. And it's very obvious and it's very actually contradictory, the entire thing.
In November there are elections. And what do you expect from these elections? What will happen? What will happen when Trump goes on? What will happen when Biden comes? What do you think about the elections?
Again, the country is tremendously confused. So no result would really surprise me. If Biden wins, okay. If Trump wins, it's not going to shock me at all. They are not going to win because of the strong ideological superior political whatever theories that they have, or not because they are leaders. They are going to win because of the media manipulations, because of particular frustrations of the people regarding particular topics. So it is not if Trump is going to win, he's not going to win because he's a great leader. If Biden is going to win, he's not going to win because he's a great leader. He's going to win only because many people will be absolutely horrified, scared by the Trump's politics. If Trump is going to win, he's going to win because of the extreme nationalism, fanatical nationalism of many millions of the American voters. So if whatever victory it's going to be, it's not going to be a healthy, optimistic victory.
The last question, What has changed, what do you think, in the United States between the time when you lived there for 15 years, maybe before 15 or 20 years, you lived there also, I think in the 90s. What has changed in the United States from that time to today?
When I came to the United States first, it was a Reagan era. It was a yuppie, go-get-it, extremely aggressive, extremely nationalist country. It was very unpleasant then, but it was unpleasant again in a very different ways. It was confident, it was very arrogant, and it was really sure of its uniqueness and exceptionalism. In this respect, it was already very unpleasant, very dangerous. But there were no doubts, there were no fears, except of the fears of maybe lowest, poorest 20% of the population. Now it's all in reverse. Everybody is scared. Nobody is secure. Even people that I know, very famous artists living in New York, famous academics, professors, they are all talking where to live, where to go, where to disappear. Should they go as far as Chile? Should they go to live to rural Thailand? Should they go to live to Madrid? It's on that level. There is nobody, everybody who has brains and who has means is talking about leaving the United States. People who are still want to come to the United States from the poor Guatemala or Honduras are desperate people whose countries were totally destroyed by the empire. But there is uncertainty. There is intellectual uncertainty. There is no really great happiness in this time of Trump leadership, of pandemic, of economical and intellectual decline.
Mr. Andre Vltchek, great novelist, journalist, writer, and filmmaker. I thank you for these informations.
Thank you.